The Paradigm Shift, episode 82. Hell yeah. Let's get buck wild right now. We got a very special guest on today. I'm super excited about it. We're back from Chicago and the Chicago Marathon, and we're ready to get buck wild, and we're just waiting for Big Dave on. Paradigm Shift was in Chicago this weekend. This is what we got. Can't buy that. You know what I'm saying? Gotta earn it. John Doe in the house. How you doing, buddy? Where is Big Dave? Rory, I see you on, brother. We're going to bring you on less than five. Less than five. Helene Siegel in the house. Great to see you, Mom. As always. And what a treat. Dave, I see you. You sex octopus. Let's get nuts. There he is!
Hey.
Hi.
What's going on?
Just want a just big fat bear hug.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Congratulations to you on your VIP party this week and the opening of season 4.
Yeah, I know. We've had a heck of a week. I had and I'm losing track of what the heck I did, but it's been incredible. We were at SoFi on Wednesday and had just incredible people up there. I don't know if you know who Charlie D'Amelia is or Dixie. So we had Mark up, and it was incredible. And then Damon West came in to the house, and then Thursday we had the launch party for a 2-minute drill, and then Friday we started filming office hours, and it was everyone Ellie Zeiler, James Maslow, Sean Merriman, our hosts are incredible. I'm just blown away, man. And we tied in the Unstoppable Foundation to every single thing. We also had the America Real Deal. Maria Osmond and I have a show called America Real Deal, and we had that launch party after SoFi. So I have so many different things going on, but most importantly to me was how proud I am that you have overcome so many different challenges to run that Chicago Marathon. And there was the medal that I saw. Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. I was a little bit disappointed with the end result because I know I could do better. But it's all about perspective and the paradigm shift. We still set another PR, fastest I ever ran. It's just so exciting how much we grow, and especially how much you rub off on me, where it's like, what was an impressive milestone 6 months ago is not as impressive today because of the trajectory that we're on, continuing to work on ourselves and grow. It's just a beautiful time to be alive.
Yeah, it certainly is, man. And do your best, learn lessons, have fun. And there's no reason ever to be disappointed. And so even if we can do better, if we did our best, there's two different things going on there. So I always tell people, do your best. You can always do better because it's an unlimited potential that you have. So that's always going to be the case. So don't have any interference or disappointment of yourself. Just, learn from it and see how you can do better by doing your best.
You really are such a sexy sea turtle. It's unbelievable. I'm so excited.
How about my Padres? I don't know if you catch the sports as much, but my Guardians, my Padres. I have a new book coming out. If the Guardians and the Padres make the World Series, how to manifest whatever you want. Guardians, Padres, World Series.
Yeah, the other day I was watching the game. The Guardians are coming up. I was like, who the hell are the Guardians? I forgot they changed their name.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, because they dropped the Chief Wahoo, brand, and I look just like Chief Wahoo. Here, watch.
I love sports. It's an exciting time right now because we've got baseball playoffs. The NHL just started. NBA is about to start. Obviously, football. It's a great time.
It's amazing. Yeah, we're going to be filming 2 days next week in Las Vegas at our studio at the Wynn with Blue Wire. So, season 4 of Office Hours, I think. I lose track of the seasons, whatever season it is. But we're going to go to the Knights game, bring everybody for a VIP dinner at the Knights game on Thursday night next week in Las Vegas.
I love it. And also, side note, I can't wait to spend some quality time with you in Portugal.
Bam! And we're going to see you on some stages, doing a little bit of speaking, emceeing, podcasting. We got incredible people coming. You're going to get to meet and elevate your frequency by not only elevating others with your brilliance, but also allowing others to elevate you with theirs.
Hell yeah, love it. Love you so much. One quick question for you before we bring on Rory, who I'm really excited about. Looking at your content this week, as everybody should be doing if they want to improve. And I saw you say this, and I never saw you say it like this. Bankruptcy is well documented as a big part of your story. But I heard you say this week, Dave, that you actually manifested that.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, manifesting is what are you doing to participate into that perception, and what are you doing? I tell everybody, think about what you want. Don't think about what you don't want, what's missing, what you're afraid of, what you're worried about, what you're complaining about, what you're judging, what you're putting conditions on, what you're resentful for. And my biggest fear when I was young, as I finally made enough money to buy my mom a house and a car, I was so specific about my fear and my manifestations of what I was afraid of that not only was I most afraid of going bankrupt, but remember, the only reason I wanted to be rich was to buy my mom a house and a car. And so within the context of the bankruptcy, I didn't take my mom's name out of my mom's house out of my name. So not only did I manifest bankruptcy, by focusing in on what I didn't want, what I was most afraid of, but I actually manifested losing my mom's house as well. And so I had to do a reset. I had to do a mindset reset. I had to do a heart set reset. And I had to do a handset reset. I had to look at my behaviors and practices and activities and make sure those were aligned with the trajectory of what I think I want, not what other people wanted for me, not what I didn't want, not what was missing, not what I was afraid of, but what I wanted. And one of the interesting things I didn't talk about in that video, because as you know, you only have so much time on the video and sometimes certain meanings get lost, is that a lot of times when we achieve, the haters come out because of their own manifestation. And so not only are you putting attention and intention on what you're afraid of, but other people are reinforcing that intention because they're not looking out for your best interests. They're so afraid themselves that they're not enough, that they can't do what you do. So now you have all this attention and intention and focus on Dave Meltzer going bankrupt, because not only was I worried and afraid of it, putting attention and intention, but a lot of my friends and family that couldn't deal with the separation and the jealousy, the not enough, what they didn't want, would put their attention and attention hoping I failed, hoping I went bankruptcy, hoping I lost my mom's house so they could say, I told you so, he wasn't that good. And all of that energy, all that focus, statistically, what does it do? It materializes. And so that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the right people, the right idea, but most importantly, not put out there what we're afraid of. Focus in on what you don't want. Think, say, do, believe, and feel it in a synergy, in the trajectory of what you do want, not what you don't want.
Yeah, you're such a stud. And we could do a whole podcast on this alone. So much to unpack, and we'll keep it brief because I want to bring on Rory. But I think your mentor, Wayne Dyer, said, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And sometimes you could want something so bad that it's a stronger feeling of you want it so bad that you're afraid not to have it, or you're afraid that you're going to lose it, right?
Yeah, I mean, even within a lot of religions, the word Adonai, for example, in the Old Testament means I am that, right? And so I am that, happy, healthy, wealthy, worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? So absolutely. And then another word, Amen, used in multiple religions, means I believe that. And so when you hear people say Amen, you are confirming that intention and attention with I believe that. So I am that, I believe that are two critical statements that we can use in our mindset, our heart set, and our hand set by doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling. I am that and I believe that.
You really are a pretty porpoise.
Go
We're going to
Padres. All right.
bring one of the kings of personal branding, Radical Rory. I'm super excited for this one. Great guy. Helene
Yeah.
Siegel's Dave, say hello to my mom.
Hi, Mom. You should be so proud. You have such a wonderful son. Hey.
Rory!
Hey guys, good morning.
Good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be with you. I'm out in Arizona traveling on a Saturday, so I'm glad we can make it happen. I got two toddlers at home, so Saturday mornings are usually family time. But since I'm on the road today, I was like, thank you for making this work so we could do it.
Hell yeah. And we know you could be anywhere, so thank you for joining us. I'm a big fan. I'm excited to connect. The audience is in for a real treat today. Guys, if you're not familiar with Rory, do yourself a favor. Go do a deep dive. Check out everything he's got going on. What's going to be most valuable, in my opinion, is we just have a great conversation. You ready for me?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're one of the kings of personal branding. 2 years ago, when I pivoted and reinvented myself from Wall Street to CLS, I realized the power of personal branding. Dave is amazing at it too. He's taught me so much. Why is it something everybody should consider this day and age?
Yeah, well, I think here's what personal branding is not. And I think the issue is people think of personal branding and they equate it with social media, graphics, websites, funnels, emails, podcasts, and it becomes quickly overwhelming, and it becomes, scary. And also for some people, it feels like sort of trivial or insignificant. And so they're like, well, that's, or vain. And I think it's because they're thinking about it wrong. And we conducted a national research study. It was a US-based study. We hired an independent research firm, and we looked at what Americans, how Americans respond to personal brands. And we found that 74% of Americans are more likely to trust someone with an established personal brand. We found also that people are more likely they're willing to spend more money with people who have an established personal brand. And what that caused us to realize is this: personal branding is simply the digitization of your reputation. The digitization of reputation. And so the better way of thinking about it is not social media and followers and likes and videos and TikToks and email. It's just going, this is reputation. This is the age-old concept of reputation. And it's presenting in a new form.
He's got nuggets today, Big Dave.
Well, he absolutely is right. And the interesting thing about the digitization of a reputation is that when you have a million people, you have a million reputations. And so that's why, and I'm sure Rory will agree, that consistency is so important. And because of vanity and humility, it's very difficult a lot of times to help those who we should be building brands for the highest frequency, the greatest value or energy that's created with an essence, to be consistent, because they're afraid they'll be seen as vain. Their humility stops them from building a brand. And this even occurs within product, services, or solution. And this is a age-old problem before we even got to the digitization of a brand. As I ran Lee Steinberg, when we were, dealing with guys like Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Lennox Lewis, Sabathia, Ramirez, all the big names, they didn't like taking the time, because of mostly vanity and humility, of how they thought they would be seen, that people would laugh at them for doing that commercial, or they would be made fun of. Because if you have a million people, you have a million reputations. The only way to aggregate those reputations into a communication that's similar is through consistency. And which brings up a bigger point that I rarely ask questions, Rory, but one of the challenges that we face in branding, and always have, and I always say, when the economy is sliding, when we get into an accelerated downturn, which I think most people agree we're already in. I told people we were already in it about 6 months ago. Craig will tell you. There's a ledger that I like people to use, and it specifically will affect our business. It's expense versus investment. And if you don't see your brand and your community as an investment, and this is generally what I give as economic advice as I coach a lot of CEOs, you got to have a ledger. Is this an expense or is this an investment? And this type of branding has to be in literally the investment side of your ledger, or it's not going to work for you. The minute you see this as an expense, you'll have too short term of an expectation, and you won't spend your money in the right places. You'll spend it for the podcast, and you won't spend it on the consistent side of things. So Roy, how do you feel about that ledger and my assessment of expense versus investment?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is an investment, and you can think of it financially as an investment, like, oh, I'm going to build my reputation online. And certainly, a lot of the clients we've worked with, Ed Milet, Lewis Howes, Tom and Lisa Bilyeu, Eric Thomas. You know, these are our clients, and you see what has happened as their personal brand has grown. Like, you know, we just helped Ed run his book launch. He sold 117,000 books. You know, Eric Thomas, I know you just had him on. We just helped Eric hit the New York Times a couple weeks ago. And you look at what it does for their career, but here's the part I love about these people, right? What they realize is that they're not playing a money game. They're playing an impact game. The irony of personal branding is that your personal brand is not about you. And if you have the only time we feel fear is when we're thinking about ourselves. Fear is a completely self-centered concept. And if you're nervous about building your personal brand because you're afraid of coming across as vain, you're afraid of how people are going to look at you, that is completely self-centered. When you realize and you reposition yourself, and I'll tell you that the single greatest piece of personal branding advice I've ever heard is not actually from us. It's from a gentleman named Larry Winget. And Larry said this to me early in my career. He said, Rory, the goal is to find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. So you're not worried about vanity when you're focused on helping. You're not worried. You're not scared. Like, there is no fear when the mission to serve is clear. If there is a car turned upside down on the side of the road and it's on fire and you go run to help, you're not thinking, how does my hair look? Or is my outfit cute, right? Like, you're going to save somebody. You're going to help. You're going to make a difference. And that is one of the biggest, that's another big pivot I think that people need to make, is you need to stop caring about how many followers you have and focus more on the followers that you do have, and focus on serving them and investing into them and pouring into them. One of the things that we tell our clients that helps them process this is, think of your online audience as an offline room. Think of your online audience as an offline room. So, you know, for a lot of us, if we posted a video online and we got 14 likes, many of us would be like, oh my gosh, I feel stupid. That's so lame. You know, like, Jay Shetty gets 14 million views. I'm getting 14 likes. Why am I doing this? And it becomes discouraging, and it becomes this game of comparison. But if you were in an offline setting and there were 14 people in front of you and you had a chance to impact 14 lives, you would be fired up. You would be lighting up, because you would go, I have a chance to make impact. But there's something about the screen and the vanity metrics and the open comparison that causes us to lose sight of that. So it's not only an investment in making more income, it can be those things. You know, 4 years ago, when we first started working with Lewis, you know, he was our very first client. And then just recently, he sold this podcast to SiriusXM for millions and millions of dollars. And, you know, that is a journey that started 4 years ago. And so he's made some great money, but he's not focused on the money. He's focused on impacting 100 million lives, right? Like Eric Thomas, he doesn't care about being a New York Times bestselling author. He wants to win the Nobel Prize. He wants to do something that transforms education in America. And all of the greatest personal brands, I think, realize that it's an investment not only in income, but it's really an investment in impact. And that is more about reputation, and that is more recession-proof. So yeah, I would 100% agree it's an investment.
I don't know if I've ever heard a more thorough answer, Dave, to your questions. Yeah, no, agree on everything you said, and especially like the paradigm shift, like with the car burning, like you wouldn't care about your hair look. You just want to impact the people in front of you. And if you can impact someone, and like Dave always says, right, Dave, you impact someone to the best of your ability, that person's going to tell someone else, and then that person's going to tell someone else, and all that stuff. I want to switch gears for a second, Rory, because I was looking at your content, and this really stuck out to me, and I think Dave's going to love it too. You dropped a quote: impatient about progress and patient about completion. It sounds powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, but before I studied personal brands, I sort of broke through the wall in personal development. So my first book was called Take the Stairs, and it hit the New York Times when I was 29. So I've always had this deep fascination with ultra performers and successful people. And I do believe that before you can ever build a strong personal brand, you have to build a strong personal character, because your influence will never grow wider than your character runs deep. And so if you don't have a strong foundation of personal character, eventually, if you get too much influence, it'll implode. And you see that happen every now and again with celebrities. But one of the most common characteristics of ultra performers, and Dave and I are just really meeting for the first time, but I know enough about him to know that he is one. And my guess is he would be someone that practices this, is that they have this seeming juxtaposition that they are patient about completion. They're patient about long-term results. They're playing the long game, right? When we say the digitization of reputation, we're playing the long game. Like, Brand Builders Group is not the people who says, we're going to teach you how to make 6 figures in 2 months. Like, that's not us. We're going to teach you how to become a New York Times bestselling author, have a viral TED Talk, build, an 8-figure business. And instead of it taking 20 years, we'll get you there maybe in 5, right? Or something like that. But so they're patient about completion. But they're incredibly impatient about progress, because they realize that in any given moment, we can make progress. It might be a lot, it might be a little, but they are not willing to accept stagnation. They're not willing to accept procrastination. They're not willing to accept inaction. They don't accept mediocrity. It's going, we are going to move the ball forward. We're going to keep running plays and move the ball forward. And eventually we'll get there, and we don't know when we're going to get there. So it's patient about completion, but impatient about progress.
At the very minimal, you can get first downs. It doesn't always have to be a touchdown. Just being around you folks right now. Dave, I couldn't help but notice you turned into a giddy goose. What are you smiling at?
I love your alliterations. Well, I think every successful person I'm blessed to be close friends with a lot of the clients that Rory have, and in men's groups with him. And this is a key topic for us. And where do we put our attention and intention emotionally? So many people attach their emotions to these outcomes. And not only is it something, that distracts us because it doesn't allow us to keep an open mind, open heart, and open hand to assess the data that we're receiving every day by doing our best, learning lessons, and having fun. But it actually creates resistance, because when we attach our emotions to an outcome, it takes longer, not in quantitative man-made constructive time, which it does, but more importantly, perceptive wise. So we actually slow down our progress by, and I use the analogy, Craig, I think you may have heard this one before, we both could have the same car, the same amount of gas, and we both could leave from San Diego to Maine. And if one of us sat there and go, I can't wait to get to Maine, the whole journey, I can't wait to get to Maine, I'm going to eat this food in Maine, I'm going to do this in Maine, I can't wait to get to Maine, I can't wait. And the other person is spending their time focusing in on, getting the right app that shows you where the detours are and the wrong turns are. They pack their meals so they don't have to stop as often. They may even have a jug to pee in. Who knows what else they're doing, but they're focused on the progress part, the journey part. They're consistent and persistent in that pursuit. Not two things happen. Not only will the person who focuses their intention on the journey part, on the progress of where they're going and how they're getting there, but perception wise, it takes far less time. In fact, if something should happen along the way that actually allowed the other person to get to Maine first, that put their emotions on the outcome. And this does happen in life, by the way, as Rory knows, because he has clients that he cannot explain why they got there faster than the other client because they're both doing it. Happens. But the key to keeping your focus on the progress is that even if I got a flat tire or something happened that stopped me from getting there in man-made constructive time, perception wise, when I get there, I'll be like, that was such an easy trip. That was so fast. I loved it. It was amazing. And the person who only focused in on, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to do this. When I'm there, I'm going to be so happy. This is right. they're not going to be happy when they get there. It's going to be the longest trip of their life. And I see that within my own brand. I see that in yours, Craig. And I see that in Lisa and Tom and Ed and ET and all the guys that Rory works with. They focus their emotions on the progress as well. And so we can sit here and agree with each other all day, Rory. And that's the reason that everyone's doing so well and impacting so many people. I do, Craig, want to comment one thing. People make fun of me because I do meetups in every city. And a meetup sometimes could be 5 people. Sometimes I get kicked out of hotels with 100 people. But it's that impact that I've never lost because I'm older than most of those people that all you guys deal with. I remember the thrill of going, telling my wife, oh my God, I just spoke to 100 people. And so when my team comes to me and goes, hey, that video didn't perform, Dave. We only got 40,000, views on this video. It didn't do very well. I was like, are you kidding? That's an entire Petco. Like if somebody would tell me still today, Dave, we want you to speak at Petco, you and Ed Milet. I want you guys to come and speak on the field to everybody in the stadium. Even Ed and I would be like, holy shit, this is amazing. But meanwhile, when you get 40,000 views on a video, you're like, oh, not me. 100 people, one person, I don't care because you don't know who that person knows. You build a community of sponsors and power sponsors, and that's what builds brands like Lewis and ET and Ed and Lisa and Tom and all the people that you're helping with the right perspective and the right skills and the right knowledge. I was super excited to get on here because I've only heard such great things about you and what you're doing. So thank you for joining us as well.
Yeah, Dave, beautifully articulated as always. And Rory, thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited to connect further. I'm glad I brought you two together. For the audience listening, Rory, what's the best way for everybody to support you and follow along on your journey?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're just watching this, you could click and come say hi over on Instagram. We have a bunch of free trainings that are listed in my story highlights. But the last little thing I would just leave everybody with is, to this idea of service. If you feel nervous or reluctant or scared about building your personal brand, I just want you to know that there's somebody out there right now who needs you more than you need them. And you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. And to me, success isn't about having to have millions of people. It's about realizing you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were and reaching back to that person and helping them get out of whatever situation that they are. And there are people right now, you're thinking about like, oh, I don't know how to do my lighting or the right microphone to use. And what they're thinking and they're living in their life is like they're on their hands and knees praying and begging, like praying to God for answers to questions that like the back of your hand. And you could help that person, but we're too busy concerned about how am I going to look or what are people going to think or what am I going to say? And we're not focused enough on just grabbing that person and being like, I'm here for you. And I'm here for the one. I'm here for the one person that needs that. So what challenge have you conquered? What obstacle have you overcome? What setback have you survived? You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were.
Bye. Beautifully said. Thank you both so much, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart for being here. I'm better for it, and I know the listeners are as well. Have a great Saturday, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dave.
Talk to you
See
soon.
you, Craig.
Thank you. Seagull the Eagle.
That's it. Love you, Dave. Rory, great conversation, but I can't wait to connect with you further. The Paradigm Shift, episode 82 in the books. Wow. If you guys don't already follow Rory, go check him out. He's up to some great, very impressive stuff and personal branding. If you're not already marketing yourself as one, it's something to consider. Not for the vanity matrix, but because you can help somebody. And people trust and connect with people that are a brand more so than aren't. It's just the day and age we live in. Dave, if you guys aren't all consuming his books, his content, his podcast, start right now. Trust me. And just so grateful for that conversation. I'm better for it. I learned a lot. And this is what it's all about, right? Is to surround yourself with people that are doing extraordinary things, high frequency, big vibes. This way we can learn and then we can get better and then give better, right? And be better for it. So unbelievable conversation. Love you guys. Thank you all for the support of the Chicago Marathon. We set another PR. I know we could do better, but that's part of what makes life so fun, right? Because if you hit every goal that you had, how would that be fun? A lot of it is the journey itself. And getting better and seeing what you can improve upon and being humbled sometimes and getting your heart broken, whatever the case may be, it's a part of life, makes us battle tested and we're stronger for it. So John Doe in the house, love you guys. Let's have an unbelievable weekend. Sharpen the axe, set yourself up, surround yourself with someone that you might need to accelerate your growth in any arena that you'd like to improve upon. Love you guys.